What is the right way to look at productivity? Because perspective is very important. Any impact in one part impacts every other part. So today everybody is very concerned about getting things done. So first of all, we need to connect with the body. Most people are breathing just through their chest and breath very short, like it will happen when it has to happen. Mark these words. Nothing is invalid, and what matters is the context, and you are the most important part of the context. Today we have a very interesting topic of discussion, which is about productivity. And I keep talking about productivity, consistency, discipline, how to get into the flow state, how to build your community, and how to get the energy in motion. You would have heard me talk about all of these topics very often, and this is in the same sequence that we are talking about what is the right way to look at productivity, because perspective is very important. How we look at something really changes how we look at life and the kind of life we realize for ourselves, because truly we are the creator of our own lives, and the perspective through which, the lens through which we look at our lives is the life we are going to create for ourselves. It is not just plain destiny, and we are not just victims or in the hands like a puppet. We are equally a participant in this dance of life as much as the universe. So in realizing that we have a choice, we have an equal participation, and this is like a dance going on, and it's a partnership between the universe and me, because essentially the universe is not separate from me. Let us talk about, and I'll keep looking to the left because my notes are to the left. I don't want to miss the important points that I've jotted down, which is about productivity, getting things done. Why this topic is so important is because today everybody is very concerned about getting things done, about being productive, about how much I am doing. People are so worried that they are doing extra. They are putting extra effort, and they have made this into a mental load, into an anxiety, and to the extent that people are unable to sit with themselves. They are into this constant doing, and this constant mindless, disconnected doing becomes the most violent act for our own beings, leave alone for the entire planet, and before that for the people around us. So it is really incumbent on us to be very conscious about our doing, and through that consciousness of doing, get into productivity. Because when we do something consciously, productivity is only natural. We have sort of dissected productivity out of the entire equation, as science does, and separated it out into a component and trying to master it, while forgetting that in life everything comes as a whole. Just like this body comes as a whole, the mind, the body, the emotions, the spirit, it is a whole. Any impact in one part impacts every other part. So productivity is also a part of the whole, and it naturally comes if we are living consciously. And how do we live consciously so that productivity increases? Or to say, how conscious living impacts productivity, if we were to look at it through that lens, I have about 3 or 4 points to cover with you. Point number 1 is mind-body harmony. Point number 2 is harmonizing the work and the nourishment. Point number 3 is creating external commitments and accountability. So what is mind body harmony? This has essentially to do with awareness, developing our awareness and residing in the present moment, most importantly through our bodies, not through our minds. Why I say that is because we have today become extra mental beings, which is to say that we are residing much more in the mind than in the bodies, and which thereby affects the balance of the entire being, which composes of the mind, the body, the vital, which is the emotion. And to balance it out, the body, which is the most present, which is the physical, which is here and now, the mind can go anywhere. Through my flight of imagination, I can be in America now, I can be reminiscing my past, I can be worrying about the future, I can be anywhere, and which can impact my body by creating these emotions through whatever I am visualizing in the mind. So what is the best way to connect to the here and now is essentially the body, which is the most material aspect of the being, which is the energetic aspect of the being. Because if you understand it, the entire reality is made up of energy and consciousness. Energy, which is Shakti, and consciousness, which is Shiva and Shakti. It is just a play of energy and consciousness, and without energy nothing can happen. So the most energetic element, which is the material, the gross, the ठोस, is the body. So first of all, we need to connect with the body. And before we think about productivity, before we think about getting things done, about being productive, about reaching such and such place in the success of life with respect to other people in the society, which anyway are very invalid views of looking at life, first of all, we need to connect with our body. And if my body needs attention, first of all, we need to put our body to ease. Let us say my body is not at ease. My breathing is fluttering. My heartbeat is fast-paced. I am being anxious. Then what use is the doing? Mostly people are just running from one thing to the other, from one action to the other, without even noticing how they are feeling inside the body, which is very obvious because they hardly spend any time with themselves and they haven't cultivated any self-awareness. So they are not aware how their breathing is, how short their breathing is, because most of the people breathe very short. Even I breathe short, and it is a constant practice for me to cultivate longer, deeper, relaxed abdominal breathing. Most people are breathing just through their chest and breath very short, like long breathing is relaxed. It is soundless. It is just felt. And even right now, just do this experiment with me. Close your eyes and just focus on your breathing. The most relaxed way you can breathe. First of all, relax your body, your shoulders, your neck, your back, your feet. Bring your attention to the base of your feet, and then relax your neck, and then breathe very gently, slowly, long and deep. In breath and out breath. And generally, gradually you can try that your in breath is 4 counts and your out breath is 4 counts, and then gradually increase the counts for your out breath from 4 and 4 to 4 and 5, 4 and 6, and till 4 and 8, such that your out breath is twice as long as your in breath, which is deep abdominal breathing. And when you're breathing in, your abdominal sort of comes out, and you're breathing out, your abdomen goes in. And what effectively is happening is you're not breathing into the abdomen, you are creating space for the diaphragm to move downwards so that the lungs can expand. And the more the lungs can expand, the deeper the breathing. So deep breathing can be an entire subject in itself, but that is not the matter of discussion in this podcast. We are talking about, first of all, bringing the body to ease. And if your body needs you right now, which would most certainly be the case for most of us, much more than our minds, our body needs us right now, then just let go of the mental idea of that's something you need to get done. It will happen when it has to happen, and it will happen in a way more beautiful way than if you push through it right now, forgetting and ignoring your body and just pushing and pushing and pushing. Pushing never leads to beauty. It is just gradual happening, gradual being. So let the body relax. And if your body energetically needs rest, if you are facing some kind of bodily issues, there is any health issues, there is any rest you need to give to your body, just give that thing to your body, because without the root, the tree cannot bear fruit. So first of all, give your body rest. You must have noticed that when there is winter, the trees and the plants go into hibernation. No new leaves come in, but in fact they deepen their roots so that come the spring and the summer and then the monsoon, they can then just blossom outwards into a huge flourish of leaves and trunk and flowers. Which is the same with our body. We have to first nourish the body, the roots, and once you give that rest, that connection to the body, whatever practice you want to do, whether it is breathing, it is yoga, meditation, dancing, whatever is your practice, whatever is your thing that helps you naturally connect, that you enjoy, and that brings you to a space of calmness and connection with the body, cultivate that as a regular practice. So what you are essentially doing is you are letting go of short-term external work, push for the sake of long-term overall well-being. And when the body is nurtured, it might feel that you are unable to do the work that you had in mind to do that day or those days during those time slots, but what you are getting in return is a much stronger tree that bears much greater fruit, which is to say that once your body is charged, one, your doing is much better, much focused and directed in the right direction. Otherwise, your doing might be unconscious and in the direction that you is not aligned with who you are. You might be doing a work, a job, things that were not aligned with you, but mostly coming from the pushes and pulls of the mind, the society, and the conditioning. But once you settle into your being, starting with your body, your work will get more aligned with who you are. And then the focus in your work will be great. The focus in your work will be way higher, and thereby your productivity will be much higher. So what might look like a bad deal to begin with, कि यार एक दिन का नुकसान हो गया, will turn out to be a way better deal for a lifetime. You will cherish it. That is point number one. Point number two is harmonizing the work and the nourishment, which is quite related with point number one, but it is very pertinent to repeat it in another fashion, which is to say that let us say you are doing some work, some job, and that work is separate from taking care of yourself. You have to take out time for the work and then take out time for yourself and then take out time for your family. Such kind of life is very compartmentalized, unsustainable and it will eventually drain you off. It will burn you out, and most importantly, it will lead to denourishment of your being. और अगर आपकी सेहत ही अच्छी नहीं होगी, आप खुश ही नहीं होगे, तो आप क्या रिश्ते अच्छे बना पाओगे और या क्या आप ये ज़िंदगी अच्छी जी पाओगे? So first of all, you have to see that the work you are doing is aligned with who you are. ऐसा नहीं हो सकता कि आपका काम कुछ और हो, आपकी बीइंग की नरिशमेंट कहीं और से आए, आपकी फैमिली की नरिशमेंट कहीं और से आए. ये सब चीज़ें अलाइन करनी पड़ेंगी. एक स्टेप में नहीं हो पाएगा. It can be very overwhelming. Wherever you are right now, take one step at a time and start aligning these things. First of all with your work, ताकि वो वर्क और आपकी बॉडी, आपकी बीइंग की नरिशमेंट में कोई फर्क ना हो. Doing that work should actually be a nourishment for your being. It should not be that first you have to take out time for your body and then you have to do the work, which is what we talked about in point 1. And it is actually the step 1. Why? Because right now you are doing something and you cannot immediately change it. So the first thing to do is to give time to the body, settle the body, and then get to the work, which will eventually lead to point number 2, is a realignment of your work to a kind of work which is aligned with your being. और वो काम भी ऐसा होगा जो आपको नरिश करेगा. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, आपको इनेटली पेंटिंग करनी अच्छी लग सकती है, बट सोसाइटी के प्रेशर के कारण फोटोग्राफी करनी अच्छी लग सकती है. यू मस्ट हैव सीन इन 3 Idiots, दैट गाय वॉज पुश्ड इनटू इंजीनियरिंग बिकॉज ऑफ हिज फादर एंड ही सक्ड एट इट. इट वॉज सच हार्ड वर्क, ही वॉज सो मिजरेबल इन डूइंग इट, बट फोटोग्राफी जस्ट केम नेचुरली टू हिम. इट नरिश्ड हिज एंटायर बीइंग एंड ही वॉज सो हैप्पी डूइंग इट. इनफैक्ट उसके लिए फोटोग्राफी करना कोई काम ही नहीं था, उसके लिए वो नरिशमेंट थी. तो आहिस्ता आहिस्ता आप अपना वो वाला काम में एक नदी की तरह बह के अलाइन हो जाइए, which comes innately to you, whether it is doing music, whether it is whether it is programming. It could be programming for you, it could be business for you, it could be dancing for you, it could be playing tabla for you, it could be doing excursions in the mountains for you. Nothing is invalid. Mark these words, nothing is invalid. हम सभी लोगों को कहीं ना कहीं लगता है कि शायद ये करना वैलिड नहीं है, सोसाइटली ये करना चाहिए, ये नहीं करना चाहिए. ये राइट रॉन्ग कुछ नहीं होते. एवरीथिंग इज शेड्स ऑफ ग्रे एंड व्हाट मैटर्स इज द कॉन्टेक्स्ट एंड यू आर द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट पार्ट ऑफ द कॉन्टेक्स्ट. अगर आपके साथ अलाइन होता है तो वो राइट है, अगर आपके साथ अलाइन नहीं होता तो वो रॉन्ग है, सोसाइटी के लिए जितना मर्जी राइट हो. So essentially, you may end up changing your work entirely. You may end up realigning the way you do your work. You may end up reorganizing your entire organization. आप किस तरह के लोग हायर करते हो, आपके वर्क करने का तरीका बदल सकता है. हो सकता है आपका काम ना बदले, बट आपका तरीका बदल जाए. When you reach first step 2, हो सकता है आपको ये रियलाइज़ होना चालू हो जाए कि मैं जिस तरह के लोग हायर कर रहा था वो मेरे साथ अलाइन नहीं है और मेरी विजन के साथ अलाइन नहीं है, बट आई वॉज हायरिंग दोज पीपल बेस्ड ऑन सर्टन